Well. Welcome to Stellaris, the fun and pretty and nice space game that is hopefully nice and not too difficult to learn. This is going to be kind of like a first layer introductory video just to get you the very basics of the game so that you don't uh, sit there scratching your head looking at all the millions of buttons and information thinking, what even the hell do I do? We're going to start a new game. We're going to play Earth. We're going to play like the United Nations of Earth as if they had some balls, as if they were running Earth and exploring space. If once you get the handle on the game and you know what some of the perks mean and things like happiness and unity and habitability, once you're more familiar with that, you can worry about making a nation. But in the meantime, there's so many details and there's so many layers to this game that we're not going to worry about that. We're going to take one of these. We're going to select them. We're going to start a game. And we're going to look at the very basic features of the game just to get your space empire onto its feet. If you enjoy the story of the game, you can read details like this that come up, but for our purposes, we're going to streamline past these and just work on the very basics. So this is our solar system map. This is where we get to see the kind of planets that we have in our system if you want to look at the makeup of the planets, what the resources you get from them and whatnot, but we're also not going to worry about that right now. We're going to press E, and E is going to take us to the galactic map. This is the big galaxy map that lets you see where you are in relation to the whole galaxy, and also what your neighborhood looks like, what solar systems are close by and connected to. So you can see we have some solar systems close to us, connected by a line. These are the lines that the faster than light travel lines that ships must travel across. So this is very much like a game board where ships can only travel along these lines. Much later in the game, you're going to get ability to skip over these lines or to jump to other parts of the galaxy, but again, that's not part of this layer. The next thing we're going to look at now is our types of ships. We have some ships here with some stars. That's a military fleet for shooting rude dudes and dudettes. We have a science ship, which is a ship with the atom symbol. This is very important early in the game for exploring and surveying new systems and for researching technologies too. And we have our construction ship for building up past our home base. At the very beginning of the game, the best thing for you to do is to take your science ship and to start surveying other systems because we want to find other habitable planets for us to explore for us to colonize. The way we're going to do that is we're going to select our science ship, we're going to right click on the solar system we want to go to, and we're going to survey the system. I'm going to hold down the shift key, and we're also going to do a second one too so I can set it and forget it. So let's unpause the game. Let's crank up the speed. Let's ignore all the pop-ups that come up, and let's try and find ourselves up somewhere we can colonize. In the meantime, I want to talk about one other aspect, which is resources. If I hold down my Alt key, I can see what resources that I'm collecting already. That's in green, and the ones that are in white are resources that you have yet to start collecting. This is where your construction ship comes in handy. Any systems that you control that's within your colored, cloudy, aura, fog thing, your puddle of existence, what you're going to do is you're going to right click on your solar system and you can build mining and research stations. We don't really have enough minerals right now. We will in a minute, or we can also build our research station. An inventory of resources is at the top. Energy is essentially the money that we use. Minerals is used for building stations that are for mining and research. And we have some other resources too that we'll talk about in a minute. Alloys is something that we use for building ships and space stations. That's an important one for continuing to do that. So you want to make sure you have a decent amount of alloys. And because we have more minerals now, I'm going to ask this ship to build mining stations, and I'm going to hold down the shift key to build research stations when they're done as well. All right, so let's have a look down here. Oh, our science ship has found a potentially habitable planet. So our science ship is, there we go, going around shooting its laser beam at various stars and planets to try and see if they're any use to us. This is the potentially habitable one. And what we're going to do is we have to wait until the science ship is done looking at it. So let's fast forward a bit and let's see what we can do. All right, so our science ship is finished surveying the system. Our science ship is going to move on to the next system there, but let's have a look here. We can collect 2 energy, 4 minerals, a strategic resource. This is a special one. I can't get that one yet. And some trade. All right, and also the you can see the resources from below here are gone. I can press Alt. I'm now collecting more resources from my home system. That's great. So we want to definitely colonize this planet. You can see in the green over there, it says 90%. That's the habitability. Or if I go and click on the planet itself, there we go. Continental world, habitability 90%, which is great. That's really, really good. Anything above 65% is going to be pretty good. Anything below that is not going to be so good. The first thing we have to do is take our construction ship, and we have to include this system in our star empire. So I'm going to right-click on that system and click on Build Starbase. That means this blue aura is now going to include that, and then we can start collecting resources from it and colonizing planets. For colonizing planets, you're going to need to go to your shipyard. You can do this one of two ways. You can click on it on the side here. This is kind of your information side tab with everything on it, with your ships, with your planets, and click on it just this way. Or you can look for the little symbol here next to the name of the planet with the starbase in it, the shipyard. I'm going to click on it. That's my whole space station. And the space station can have defenses. Well, we won't worry about that right now. Or it can have a shipyard. So I'm going to build a colony ship with humans, because that's the only species we have in our system. And it's going to build one. I'm actually going to build another science ship too to help with exploring. And as you can see, I've used up so many alloys that I can't build up any more ships at the moment. I have to wait for the alloys to trickle back in. So this is going to finish building a colony ship, and then we can colonize a planet. In the meantime, our construction ship is working on building ourselves a space station, which is pretty good. Once our space station is there, then we're ready to rock and roll. Actually, that's pretty cool. You can watch it go. Isn't that neat? That's pretty neat. There you go. Wow. So my construction ship is now going to start. I'm going to tell it to start building mining stations so it can start to collect those resources. I did that by right-clicking on it and saying build mining stations. Our science ship is also finished in another system, and I'm going to keep this science ship nice and busy because there can be some average systems. Like this is an okay system. You get a couple resources, but some of them have a lot. You can collect 8 resources, 10 resources, 20, sometimes more. Sometimes you get a habitable planet. Sometimes you get 2, or I've even seen once 3 habitable planets in a system. That's the big, great free real estate that you want. So I'm going to keep my science ship nice and busy, looking around for those things. All right, I'm going to wait till the colony ship is done, and then I'll show you how to get the job done. All right, so we have our colony ship. We're going to click on it here. It's the one with the little person and the flag. We're going to right-click on the system, and that's not going to be enough. What we're going to have to do is go into the solar system, find the actual colonizable planet with that green orb, right-click, colonize the planet. You can name it if you want. There we go, and that will be the name of our new planet. Won't that be charming and wonderful? Also, what I've done is I've expanded my star realm, my empire, my club of cool guys to another system here to include this one. I'm also going to start getting those resources. Getting resources from a system is the first thing you do once, oops, I didn't get those ones yet. Once you expand to it. Oopsies! I've also built a second science ship, and I'm going to show you how to get another scientist for you while this one colonizes. You click on Assign Leader. Recruit. We're going to talk about this in a minute, actually. Recruit. We're going to find another guy. For science ships, exploring and surveying is good. That's research, that's experience gain. None of them is for surveying. I'll take the experience gain, but these details are for another level we won't worry about. Congratulations, Mr. Yoshi, you are now a science ship boy. I'm going to send him to some more systems, and since this science ship is going up this way, we're going to send this science ship holding down the shift key, right-click, survey system, right-click, survey system, we'll find another. And there we have it. Our colony ship is touched down. We have a colony ship. We now have a colony. This is a bar that needs to fill up while the colonies build their huts and build their pizza places and get all their shawarma huts set up and ready to go and get their internet connections set up. So once they're all fully moved in, they will be a self-sustaining planet, which is a pretty good day, and we get some research from it. Two other things before I want to let you go. The first is our resource management. The second is our anomalies. And by second, I mean first, because I want to talk about this before it disappears. From time to time, an anomaly, a special weird space thing, will pop up on various planets that we explore. I will usually research them because they will give you some science bonuses, or they might find some extra resources, or they might let you find some cool things, as long as the difficulty is not super hard. Anything above hard, I'm not going to do because my scientists will be there for much too long when they could be exploring. I can also come back to them later as the skill of my scientists improves. So this is a place on Ancastar. So this is the lady here, Courtney Hart. She's looking at this one. I'm going to say yep because it's easy. That's a routine one. The difficulty is not too bad. And then they'll find some stuff. And this also could be a possible habitable planet, but they need to finish surveying it. We'll talk about that later. The last thing I want to talk about is your resource management and your technology. Your resources are up here along the top. You need these resources for various things. Energy is basically money. Minerals you turn into metal. Food is for eating. Consumer goods is kind of the resource that fuels all the more complex things in your empire. Alloys are what are used to make ships and space stations. So you need to make sure you have a decent amount of alloys coming in every month. That's what the plus thing is. Influence allows you to spread to other systems. For example, when I am spreading to another system, this one is done being surveyed, it costs me influence and alloys. However, the farther away a system is from your controlled realm, if I wanted to build an Ancastar first, the cost would be even more, lacking 32. So 32 and 118, it's 150 it would cost. So it's going to cost a lot more if it's not close to your realm. Even more so if I wanted to build way out here. So influence is an important thing to keep an eye on, and it limits how fast you can expand. The last thing before my time is up, because I don't want to make this too long, is research. You want to try and make sure you have research going all the time. You don't want to waste time. Sometimes it's tricky to know what to choose for research because you don't know what these mean. I don't know what they mean either. So I try and choose things that, I don't know, I think I will need later. For example, this one sounds like a military one. I'll do one military one. What's this? Look at this. We have some research. We have some unity. This glowy symbol means that this technology will not go away until you research it. Every chunk of time, these choices will change. So if I don't choose this one down here, it might go away, but that's fine. I don't care. I want to do this one, the unity one. That sounds nice. And engineering. We have military. We have military afterburners. That sounds like how fast ships go. And we have some research. Let's do a research one. It's hard to know what you want to do. Sometimes it's easier to choose when you have a shortage of something. Let's say you have a shortage of energy credits. You can choose a technology that gives you more energy credits. If you need more unity or influence, or this is called administrative capacity. We'll talk about that in another layer. These technologies will help you with these things, but for the most part, just make sure you choose something. You can't go wrong as long as you choose something, right? There you go. So that's the basic levels of Stellaris. This is kind of like an empire building, almost D&D game, where you get to play according to what kind of empire and star civilization you are. Because we're the United Nations, we like to take our time, we like to explore, we're going to be nice to the other aliens when we find them, and we're just going to have a fun time exploring space and being cool guys. And that is basically how you start the game. In another video, we're going to talk about what we do once we have a couple colonized planets. We'll talk about how we manage our planets, what we build, how we make sure we haven't built an empire that's too big, and how we'll develop our other capabilities so that we can continue expanding without neglecting any important things. And that's it. Thanks for bearing with me.